My grandmother was a woman of integrity, a woman of sacrifice, a woman of wisdom, courage. I learned a lot from her. Even though she thought that I wasn't paying attention or listening, I did. I watched her. I watched what she did, what was done to her, how she reacted, all those things, which instilled anger in me. I would always go to my grandmother and ask, why would you allow people to do that to you? Why would you allow them? Like, why won't you get back? I don't understand. I would find my grandmother praying. And I would ask her, grandmama, like, why are you praying? Like, I don't understand. I'm a kid, so I'm trying to understand. And she was like, she would always talk about kindness. That's what sticks out with me the most is kindness. She would always mention about kindness. And I couldn't understand why. And I'm like, look, I didn't do, I was just so angry because my grandmother, she wasn't perfect, but she was a good woman. And she did her best. She did what she can do. No matter for who it was, she sacrificed a lot for everybody, including me too. I know that. And I had a conversation with someone not too long ago, is even though typically people back then didn't show love like you would think so. And everybody show love different. They love different. And I need for you to understand what I'm about to say. Just because a person don't hug or all this kind of stuff don't mean they don't love you, okay? There are things that people are dealing with. It took me when I got to the Lord to understand this with anybody. There were people who never received it, so how can they give it? You understand? But they show you in other ways. My grandmother, all of us experienced different, you could say, versions of her. I've had conversations with other family members that say that she never talked to them about stuff like that. It was different with them, but she would always sit down with me and my sister and tell us things and show us things. And I understand now it was for a reason. I get it. It was for a reason. And I was the one to where nobody thought was paying attention, but I was. I mean, I can barely stand still now. I mean, I'm just saying, that's just the way I am. And a lot of people they don't truly know who you are because you're different. They don't understand it. So they automatically label you as rebellious. And that's the way how I was labeled. Even though my grandmother knew that I was different. Don't get me wrong. She did. She knew that I was different. She couldn't quite understand it. Okay. But she will offer wisdom. She will offer what I would call like all these riddles. I called it riddles because I'm like, please speak plainly because I can't understand what you're saying. And she would just say, keep on living. And then in my life, when things would happen, I would hear her voice. But my grandmother, I'm talking about this because my grandmother was the type of woman that no matter who she came in contact with, even people who hated her, they couldn't really say anything bad. They really couldn't because there was nothing bad about her. Granted, she was not perfect. I'm going to put it to you like that. She wasn't. But they couldn't say, the main thing they would say that she was a praying woman and a woman of God. A good woman. Anybody knows that. My grandmother also made a name for herself around a certain sector of people, because she worked for people. And all these people admired her, I can say, in a way. But she worked for them, and that's what I looked at. But I remember one person in particular. It was a teacher. And I remember I had her class, and everybody thought that she was mean, but to me, she wasn't. She just wasn't. She just wanted the best for people. And I remember her taking me outside of her class one day. And she told me, she said, I don't know what's going on with you. She said, but your grades are slipping. She said, what's going on? She said, look, I know your grandmama. I know what you're capable of doing and what you're not. She said, this is not you. She said, you are beautiful. You are capable of doing it. I mean, she just went down the line of things that what she saw from me, And she said, if you continue, I'm going to have no other choice but to tell your grandmother. And she said, and you and me both know you won't like that. She said, I'm telling you because I know the best. This is not your best. And I know what you're capable of. I'm saying this because a lot of times not only because of you, but because those before you. You may look at them like all this kind of stuff, but a lot of times those grandmothers, or it could be anybody, or great grandmother, whoever it is, because it depends on people, family dynamics, set the precedence of what's to come. And if you pay attention, you can literally see, you can see the wrongs and you can see the rights, but you have to evaluate it all and look at it from a perspective even of their time. Even of your time, of you growing up, all those things, you have to look at it even with your children and your grandkids, because everything changes. People don't get that. I learned from my grandmother by being around the right people. There were people that would push you, not only you, but your children's children's children, and want to help them and even put them in position because of who they are, because of you, what you have done. They may not understand the spiritual aspect, okay? Because I know a lot of people, like I said, they may not understand that, but because of how you were to them, how you were to anybody that they've known, they are going to try to make sure that you get and do what you need. Now, I'm not going to say this because it's not. But it also taught me in my life, being positioned around the wrong people can also destroy you.